Hey guys, welcome back here to today's edition of The Fishing Teacher, and thanks for joining me for the video today. Really appreciate that. And we have got a wiggle wart primer for you guys today. At the time of filming this video, we're in the first week of December. We're sort of getting into that phase. You know, January, February, March, early April are some of the best times of year to fish a wiggle wart. So I'm going to give you guys some good tips and advice on this today. Just sort of a broad just a bunch of broad foundational tips. It's very random, but just some stuff that I have learned about wiggle warts that help me catch a lot more fish. And I've picked these up over the years. A lot of this stuff, you know, I've learned on my own just by trial and error. Some of it's my buddies shared with me, but I've got a good bunch of tips I want to share with you guys to help your wiggle wart fishing coming up there. And also, guys, I will include my Tackle Warehouse link to the wiggle warts. If you guys would like to take advantage of that link, Tackle Warehouse has got a big, it's a 12 days of Christmas sale going on. So if you guys would like to get some wiggle warts or any other bait, I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link you can use in there. Good way to help the channel, and really appreciate that. Okay, guys, since I grew up in the Ozarks here, you know, wiggle wart was a staple bait for me. It's like everybody that fishes in my part of the country fishes a wiggle wart. Wiggle wart is one of the baits that originated here in the Ozarks, like with a lot of other stuff. A lot of people don't realize it, but the Ozark area where I fish, Bull Shoals, Table Rock, you know, Lake of the Ozarks, this is the home to like the jerk bait. The modern day jerk bait came from here. Wiggle wart, square bill crankbaits, big bladed spinner baits. There's been a lot of techniques that originated here in the Ozarks that spread to different parts of the country. And a wiggle wart is one of them. It still works today just as good as anything else. Okay, let's talk about some broad tips on a wiggle wart. This is just sort of going to be all over the place, just sort of simulating some stuff that stand out in my mind that helps me catch a lot more fish. First of all, when do you want to fish a wiggle wart? A wiggle wart is going to be best. There is a water temperature window for a wiggle wart, and that is anytime the water's in the 50s. Between 50 to 59 degrees, if you get that situation with a wiggle wart, you are in prime wiggle wart water temperature. I don't catch too many fish on a wiggle wart if the water's below 50 degrees. I don't catch very many fish on a wiggle wart if it's over 60 degrees. 50s is the magic zone for that. Correlation with that, water clarity. Water clarity is pretty diverse for a wiggle wart. It's not a real good bait in off-colored water, so I like to have at least about a 2 foot of visibility, 2 to 4 foot of visibility in the lake you're fishing. Perfect for a wiggle wart. So if you've got water visibility 2 to 4 feet and you've got water temperatures in the 50s, you're going to catch some fish on a wiggle wart. It doesn't matter if it's in the 50s in the early spring or if it's in the 50s in the fall time of the year. That is the situation with that. Another thing with that is you're always going to catch more fish on a wiggle wart, especially if the wind's blowing. A windy type of a day, especially if you got a little bit of cloud cover, it doesn't have to be cloudy, but some type of like a 10-mile-an-hour wind with some type of, you know, partly cloudy to cloudy conditions, that's when the fish are going to be the most active with the wiggle wart. Sorry about the voice, guys. Got a little cold here. Another thing with the wiggle wart that's going to help you catch a lot more fish is the bottom contact with the bait always needs to be deflecting off of something. The wiggle wart is a rock bait. It's not designed for wood. It doesn't come through wood very good. It comes through rock really good. So you always want to make sure that your wiggle wart is hitting the bottom. If you're not hitting the bottom with the wiggle wart, you're not going to catch many fish. The wiggle wart is designed to, when it hits that bottom like that, it sort of deflects off the side and digs back down. So rock is going to be a key piece of a structure for it. And also it's going to help you out, guys, if you parallel the bank with a wiggle wart. My technique that I fish most all the time with the wiggle wart is I'll get on some type of rocky bank. I prefer some type of steeper rocky bank, something with like a 45 to 60 degree angle bank, and I make long parallel casts down the bank, trying to target sort of that 4 to 8 foot range. The wiggle wart, just the stock wiggle wart, it'll run down close to 10 feet if you throw it on a long cast with 6 or 8 pound test line. That's another thing. A lot of people don't throw wiggle wart on light line, but guys, I fish a wiggle wart on 6 and 8 pound tests most all the time. And I fish it on 6 a lot early in the spring when I want to get it deeper. A lot of people that fish a wiggle wart, they throw it on a bait caster with like 12 pound line. And you can catch fish doing that. But I throw my wiggle warts on a spinning rod, and I use anywhere between 6 to 10 pound line. Again, most of the time I'm using 6 or 8, and get a lot of bites with a spinning rod with that. Another thing with a wiggle wart is how you retrieve the bait. A wiggle wart works best on a slow medium retrieve. That's the bite window with it. It doesn't work very good burning it. Doesn't really work really good on a really slow retrieve. Just a nice medium slow retrieve like that. And another thing with a wiggle wart is how you want to actually work the bait. So what I like to do with it is I'll throw it out there, like I'll make my cast parallel to the bank with it, keep my rod tip low to the water, and I'm just cranking it like that. And once I start hitting some rocks, like I'm feeling it hitting rocks, a lot of times I'll just pull the rod like that and then take up the slack and then twitch it a little bit and just start cranking and then pull it like that, just sort of twitch it a little bit. Almost like fishing a half jerk bait, half crank bait. Works really good with that. But what you're trying to do is once that wiggle wart is actually digging the bottom, you just sort of want to finesse it through there. The slow medium retrieve will allow the bait to sort of climb over the rocks and go back down and climb over it. And there's something about that pulling motion when you pull it that you get more bites on a lot of times than if you just retrieve it straight through the water. Okay. Another thing is color. Wiggle wart, everybody's got their favorite color wiggle wart. And wiggle wart is probably one of those lures that get custom painted more than anything else. It's like, you can see some of my wiggle wart box here, guys. I've got every color under the rainbow there. I got some of my personal favorites. I like to stay away from the colors that everybody fishes. Now, most people, when they fish a wiggle wart or even a rock crawler, they're throwing something like a green phantom, brown phantom, some type of red crawdad. But I like a lot of oddball colors, guys. Number one, I do like the solid lip in there too. The older wiggle warts have a solid color. Okay, guys, sorry about the little glitch there. I got a notification that my storage was full on my phone, so I had to delete a couple things so I could keep filming the video. But what I was saying is I prefer a solid color lip on a wiggle wart over the clear lip like this. You can get them in both different ways. But the reason I catch more fish on a solid color wiggle wart with a solid lip is it gives the wiggle wart a different look in the water. If you reel a wiggle wart down that's got a clear lip versus one that's got a solid lip on it like that, the profile is just different. It's something the fish really like. So I like a solid pattern lip. And also color variations are pretty important. Colors are very important in wiggle wart. Wiggle wart is one of those baits that a lot of people custom paint just to their own specifications. But I have 3 basic colors I use. One is some type of a shad pattern. On a bright sunny day, not much wind, tough fishing conditions, shad pattern will get you a lot of bites. On the other end of the spectrum, if it's cloudy and the water's a little bit dirty or off-colored, any type of a brighter color, like a chartreuse, blackback chartreuse, really good color. And then I'll use a variety of just of different type of crawdad patterns like this, more of like the matte finishes like this rather than the translucent. These solid colored matte finishes in the rudimentary crawdad patterns like this, old school, I just catch more fish on it than I do the new ones out there. It seems like I just get a lot more bites on it. But anyway, guys, that's just a broad tips and advice on fishing a wiggle wart out there. Give it a try. It's a great bait. It's super fun to fish. Catch a lot of good fish on it, and hope these tips help you guys out. We'll talk later.